Hi there! As a BL fan who is always on the lookout for stories, I enjoy taking a closer look at the world of BL and analyzing it according to certain subjects. In each video, I take on a subject in an informative and hopefully entertaining way and express my thoughts with the help of a co-narrator. Helping me narrate this video is Jet. From Kemjira. Together, we bring you pilot episodes in Thai BL. Just why? I mean, I know why, but seriously, are they actually necessary? On the 18th and 19th of June, the Mandi YouTube channel released a whopping 12 of what are called pilot episodes. It wasn't the first time I'd seen pilot episodes in Thai BL, but they don't usually show up in such numbers. At first I was amused at how many there were at a first glance, but as I went through them, with new episodes popping up on my feed every time I thought I had seen them all, the whole situation became a little silly to me, and it got me thinking. What's the purpose of these so-called pilot episodes, and are they worth it? Let's start with the basics. What even is a pilot episode? Originating in the British and American TV show business, pilot episodes are what the very first episodes of a TV series were called. Typically, these pilots were full-length episodes, with most of the characters and actors in place. Pilot could just be the title of episode number 1 that was aired without there being anything else special about it. If you look through some of the older English-speaking series on whichever streaming site you frequent, you will be able to see that often the series' first episode is just called Pilot, while the later episodes have titles related to the storyline. In plenty of other cases, however, the pilot episodes were what became episode number 0, and they weren't aired, but simply used as test versions of the series the creators were planning to make. So the general public didn't see these test pilots. Basically, when a new project for a series was pitched, if the producers weren't sure about shooting a whole series of it, the production team would first shoot a pilot to see how the producers and a small select audience of viewers received it. These pilot episodes weren't aired on TV, so if some changes still needed to be made, that was still possible. Some prominent examples of series that had pilots that weren't aired are Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Big Bang Theory, and Game of Thrones. Some pilot episodes were made for series that then never materialized beyond that. Does some of that sound familiar? That's because this practice has been adopted in the Thai BL industry. Pilot episodes in BL are test runs of dramas that are released on the internet for public viewing. They might get expanded on depending on their reception among viewers and their required funding. And once more, within the BL sphere, Thai production companies are the only ones in Asia who do this. Maybe I should have made a series out of this called Only in Thailand. I'm not sure how the producers evaluate the viewers' responses and when a project is considered worth going ahead and shooting. The production companies need a certain amount of money, and they probably each have their own thresholds of when to go ahead with more shooting. Unlike pilot episodes in the US and the UK, which these days are hardly ever test runs anymore, what Thai production companies call pilot episodes are not full-length episodes with normal pacing and full scenes, but more like short tasters that are basically extended trailers of the entire drama. They introduce the characters, the plot, and the overall tone of the drama. Of those three, the tone of the drama has been particularly interesting to see in the 12 episodes that Mandi put out. Some of them look very different and intriguing, with what looks like less commercial cinematography and new shooting locations around the world, at least new in relation to the usual Thai BL dramas. However, as interesting, exciting, and sometimes even heartwarming as these pilot episodes look, they are just tasters. Unlike official trailers, they aren't promises of upcoming dramas. They might never get made into full dramas, left to become a statistic of abandoned projects. Even among Mandi/Domundi projects, the Zinunyu Huggy Lee musical, of which the pilot was released in February of 2025, has still not materialized, and neither has the high school drama Restart, which was released around the same time. And Mandi isn't the only production company to put out pilots that haven't gone any further, like the pilot Red Peafowl the series, that was released in October 2023. Which isn't to say that all projects that only have a pilot episode will never become more, but unlike an official trailer that contains the release date of the first episode of the drama, the pilot episode is just an open-ended tease. It may or may not happen, and if it does, it could take months, or it could take years. From what I can see, since the pilot episode is treated like an extended teaser of the drama and not as the starting point, when the full drama does get made, the whole thing is reshot and pretty much none of the scenes from the pilot are kept. This includes not just restaging or leaving out scenes, but different character profiles, changing some of the teased plot points, including completely different hairstyles. So far, the only dramas I've seen that actually used some of the content from their pilot episode are My Stubborn and Not, both from mFlow Entertainment. For the viewers, this can turn out to be false advertising, when instead of the drama just being a longer version of what the pilot episode showed, they get a completely different version of what they saw before. This can also really mess with one's headcanon, as the viewers have to deal with reconciling two versions of a story with the same actors. Or maybe I'm the only one with that problem. You tell me. For the production company, the pilot becomes an additional cost to produce footage that isn't used in the story at all. As impressed as I was to see that 2 of the Mandy pilot episodes just recently released were taking place and shot internationally, namely in Japan and the USA, it also made me a little bit concerned. If the reception of the pilots turns out to be good, and they get the funding for it, are they really going to go back to shoot a whole series in those countries? How expensive was it already just to shoot those 2 pilot episodes there? I'm not saying it's not feasible at all. Maybe the low-key, low-budget, and non-commercial look of those 2 pilots is because they were shot on a low budget. And low-budget productions can be great. I would be very impressed and very happy if they got to complete those projects and kept the look that we see in the pilot episodes. But I have my concerns. Will they get all of the necessary permissions, funds, and crew members to produce dramas that take place where the pilot episodes took place, and also maintain the look of the pilot episodes? It remains to be seen. I personally don't really like the format of pilot episodes. They're called episodes, but they're on average only about 10 minutes long. The pacing of them is usually very confusing to me. Because they are similar to trailers in that they show what the entire plot of the drama is, but are longer than a traditional trailer, they will have a mix of scenes that are meant to set the tone of the drama, but go on for what feels like too long, and quick flashes through scenes that are supposed to tease the audience while not showing too much yet. It just doesn't do it for me. I can't tell you if I have watched a full pilot episode from start to finish without skipping anything. To be clear, I don't have a serious problem with them, and I'm not making this video to advertise against them. By all means, if the production companies want to make pilot episodes, they can, and I will watch as many of them as I can stand. I'm always curious to see what projects are coming up, and I like seeing other viewers' reactions to them. It just doesn't really make sense to me as a format, and I kind of wish they would rethink how they want to tease potential projects. In any case, the release of a pilot episode usually causes a lot of excitement and interest for a new project. The actor pairings in particular receive a lot of attention, and even just these short moments of chemistry are strong enough to make many viewers want more. The only thing is that it isn't worth it for the viewers to get used to the scenes in the pilot episodes too much, because they probably won't be used in the actual drama itself. Shooting a pilot episode that never becomes anything more than that, or shooting both a pilot episode that is only used for teasing purposes, and then a completely different drama based on that episode, just sounds like a lot of time, effort, and money invested. But that was also the case for the practice in the UK and the USA, so clearly it has its place in the TV and drama industry. And even if it sounds like it costs a lot of money, that is actually not always entirely true for Thailand. In some respects, it's cheap to shoot a project in Thailand, because the costs of a lot of items like clothes, props, and food are low. It's a lot easier to pull together the money to shoot just a pilot episode, from which the project could then acquire the necessary funds for the whole drama. Still, I personally think it would make more sense to use the time and effort it takes to make the pilot episode, to really work on the project, to have a good script, find the right people to have on the production crew, and find ways to advertise and tease the project that don't produce footage that ultimately isn't used for the end product. Especially good scripts and good editors are what many projects are lacking. I honestly wouldn't miss pilot episodes if they stopped making them altogether, and instead put out multiple teasers and dramas with better quality, mainly in relation to the script. Because as soon as the full drama comes out, unless the pilot episode is considerably different, and for some reason somehow better than the actual drama, the pilot pretty much just ends up falling by the wayside. So the time window where the pilot is relevant is usually on the short side. Therefore, while pilot episodes can be an effective teaser for the projects that are chosen to go through, I would say that they are not necessarily worth it to produce a successful, quality drama that optimally brings in a lot of money. And I'm waiting with curiosity to see which dramas will actually be made. What do you think? Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe if you liked it, and comment below. Take care.